Tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Tell me something about you, what it was like to meet you, the younger you and 15 years old.
Everybody can run circles around you trying to give you what you need. If you're not accepting it, you're never going to heal. You're never going to get sober.
So my parents didn't have a very good relationship. My dad was an alcoholic. He was very abusive. He was very toxic. He was just not a very good human. And it took me a while to realize that. Like, when we were growing up, he would drink a lot, and we would have to run away to the neighbor's house because we didn't know what he was going to do to us or my mother.
My relationship with my parents, specifically with my mother, that took a big toll on me because, I was a mama's boy growing up. I just always wanted to be around her. It was just a natural gravitation for our relationship. And then I started noticing, even before my teen years, small things started changing.
I think that really started when I was around 6 years old. I started to see a lot of different stuff that my family would do. Very aggressive things. It made me lose faith in humanity and people, in relationships. Made me not want to trust anybody. Because I figured if family could do this to family, then what could a stranger do to a stranger?
My dad, it wasn't until I was later in life, like teenager, early adulthood, where I started to drink with him. I would get money from him so I can use. I manipulated him, make him feel guilty for just basically not being a present dad, just so that way I can have my money so I can use or drink or whatever.
Everyone brings a different story, and everyone has different types of trauma. There's the trauma of a car accident. There's the trauma of a combat vet. There's the trauma of a first responder or firefighter, police officer. And then you have the trauma of an individual who's been carrying the weight of not feeling good enough, walking wounded, we call them, because they are adult survivors of childhood trauma, childhood abuse or neglect. And on any given day, they have spontaneous reminders and memories of the sexual abuse, of the physical abuse, of being berated and just being insulted by the people that are supposed to love them the most, their parents, their grandparents, their caretakers. And they spent their whole lives feeling lesser than.
I remember bouncing back and forth, mother to father, and the last incident that they had was I remember my father dragging my mother down the street by her hair because he caught my mom with another man. So she was kind of paying him back for what he did. And I remember he dragged her down the street. Cops were called. Nobody did anything. But there I was, just watching.
They drink till they pass out, or they drink, do drugs to stay drinking to pass out. And then sometimes, it would get violent. My dad would hit my mom. And, he started hitting us too at a young age. So I just think just having that kind of environment as a kid, I thought it was normal to do these things.
When I was in high school, I actually had a very toxic relationship. I started dating somebody at 14. He was very abusive, very physically abusive. Emotional abuse was also there. And he was constantly cheating on me. I remember those things, but not like of my family childhood traumas. I just remember being in an abusive relationship because that's the norm. My dad's abusive. Like, that's what I expect in return, is somebody to treat me the way that my father was treating my mother. And I thought it was completely normal.
Probably when I was maybe 7 or 8 years old, when I had a more understanding of what was going on, I started finding, needles in the trash. And when I was with my mother, just the way to see how they were on drugs and random people coming in and out of the apartment. And I think at that moment I started realizing, okay, like, this is not right. Like, these people look like zombies, it's not right. And all we would do is just watch cartoons until, it was time to eat or whatever the case was. So and then when she started going in and out of jail too, is seeing her there and, all the broken promises, like, I'm gonna change, I promise. And, when you're young, I mean, you want that.
We knew that a great number of defendants coming through the court were having substance abuse issues because they had gravitated towards substances as a way to modulate their emotions that were deep running, had been around for a long time because they started when they themselves were children. Out in the community, I hear a lot often when people realize the work that we're doing, they say, well, yeah, you need to heal them because hurt people hurt people. But this weekend, our volunteer who has emceed every graduation for us, Michael Quintanilla, said something very profound, que pegó deep, and it was just eye-opening. He said, healed people heal people. And that's where we want to be, because that's what's going to make our community safer and more peaceful and a great place for everyone to live in and the best place for all of us to raise our kid for generations to come.
One thing I can say today, though, is bottom line is I've gone from hating people, pure hate, and I mean hate, to wanting to see the light and love in people. I don't hate no more. I don't think there's an ounce left in me. I really don't. There's nothing I could hate. Everything today is nothing but love and compassion and understanding.
I did not want to be in this program, but it turns out it's what I needed. So if you trust and you're vulnerable, you'll absolutely see the magic happen, and you'll start growing and trusting yourself, being honest with yourself. And it's just incredible because that runs into being honest and trusting with your family, being honest and truthful with your partner. They've been there from day one until now, that graduation, and they're gonna be at the graduation supporting me and just cheering me on. So it's really exciting, and it's a loving family.
Reflejo Court, it means, like it stands for, redemption. It's a second chance that I thought I didn't even deserve, but that they provided. And in the beginning, I thought they were against me just because of my own negative thinking. But at the end of the day, like, even till today when I realized that, like, they helped me more than I can even be thankful for. Like, I'm truly grateful for just the opportunity, like, helping me get over that hump and that surrenderness, and just to allow myself to dig deep and figure out what my traumas are. It takes a lot to peel back those layers, and some of those classes were harder than others because we had to, again, ask ourselves, like, the questions that we don't want to look at. And when you get deep and you're cutting into that onion, like, as in real life, you start to get your eyes watered, tear, because it's hard. Nobody wants to look that deep.
What the name of the classes are is exactly what I learned. I learned pathways to healing. I learned values. I learned just more and so much in depth with what my values are and the appreciation of these values, and my appreciation of, like, my renewed empowerment. I would look forward to coming to class, and I would leave very happy. I feel so grateful that it was just so much loving energy here with you, with my peers at the time, that it carried with me, and it still is with me.
During the trial, because we're trying to fight we're trying to get it we're trying to get it dismissed, and my judge, she is very, very powerful and a force to be reckoned with. She said, we are not going to drop this case. We are going to pursue this case with everything we got. And she did that. So next thing you know, I'm in Reflejo Court. Little did I know, this was something that was a scary thing for me, because I knew at that moment, this is going to bring out the real Alex. The real Alex from the time I was a little boy till now was going to come out. And the Reflejo program allowed me to grow. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the John, to the judge. You know, I mean, there's people that I got to meet throughout my process in Reflejo Court. You know, I met great people that allowed me to grow. And it took me this long to realize it. You know, it took me to lose and to fall and to be where I'm at today is the best thing that ever happened to me. I am forever thankful to God Almighty for the gift of Reflejo Court. You're welcome.
I need to see a strong desire to want to change. Every single one of my participants and graduates has changed my life. I want them to walk away having a sense of healing, peace. Having the tools they need, because they know as well as we know, they're gonna run up against triggers in their lives from the day they leave us to the day they die. And we want them to be able to be well equipped to not react to those triggers, but respond to those triggers in a way that is not going to lead them to use violence again.
Today I stand here as a noble man. Now I can lead John. For that I thank you.
When you see those individuals cross the stage with their head up high and proud of what they've accomplished and looking forward for what life has to offer, that gives you goosebumps. It raises the hair on end on your arms. You get emotional, you get overwhelmed because you know then, in that moment, that you changed their lives forever.